Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video will be my June wrap up. I know it's late, but better late than never, right? So in the month of June, I read a total of 7 books. 5 of them were young adult, 1 of them was an adult fiction, and 1 of them was an adult nonfiction. I read 1 1-star read, 1 3.5-star read, 1 3-star read, 1 4.5-star read, and 2 5-star reads. I also would like to mention that 2 of the books that I read this month were actually rereads. So let's get into the books and what I thought about them. So the first one I read in June was The Gilded Woes by Rishi. This is a young adult fantasy novel set in Paris in the 1800s. Overall, I enjoyed this book. I love the writing style. I have always liked Rishi writing. I, however, did not like her other book. I don't remember what it's called, honestly. I ended up getting rid of it because I just didn't really care for the story at all, although her writing is very beautiful. And I kind of felt the same about this novel. I thought she had amazing writing and the characters were pretty good in my opinion, but there wasn't enough for me to fully enjoy the novel. This book follows a collection of characters that come together to go on heists, and one of them, the main character, the leader of this group, is trying to earn back and win back his family's honor, basically. His family was kind of cast aside and he's the only survivor of it, and he just kind of wants to grow his family again and become one of those ruling families. I thought the premise of the story was very intriguing. However, I just didn't think there was enough for me to be fully invested in it. The characters had some good qualities, but there wasn't enough about them where I was like, I love you as a character and I want to read more about you. So I just didn't really care for this. I ended up giving this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I'm probably going to get rid of it as well because I just didn't enjoy it. And it, like I said, it wasn't bad, but it's not something that I won't read the sequel. It's not something that I'm going to pick up, and I'm not interested in picking up the next books. And I think at this point, after giving the author a second chance with this novel, I've realized that her story and her storytelling just isn't for me. So next was one of my rereads, and it was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I would like to mention that June was kind of a rough month for me in regards to just life instances and scenarios, so I just wanted to pick up a book that I knew that I really would enjoy again, and just, kind of go into my guilty pleasure state, basically. And so I decided to pick up A Court of Thorns and Roses. I read this one a few years ago and absolutely loved it. This is one of the 5-star reads for me for this month, so it is a reread, and it is also a 5-star read. If you don't know what this book is about, which I have a feeling many of you already know what it's about, this book is about a young woman named Feyre who kills a wolf and then is taken by a fairy, or a fae rather, into the land of the fae, which actually borders the human world. Feyre has grown up fearing the fae and what they can do, and she's also trying to protect her family as well as to feed her family because they're pretty poor. And anyway, she's taken into the fae world and she kind of has to survive. There's also a curse that goes on. This is, in a way, a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so that's kind of what intrigued me to begin with. But yes, I just love this book so much. I love this entire series / trilogy so much. I will say that unlike a lot of people, in my first read, I actually didn't like Tamlin. Tamlin is the main male character, the man, the fae, and I actually didn't like Tamlin even in the first read. I was very drawn to another character named Rishi, who makes an appearance in this novel. He kind of comes in more towards the end, and I was more drawn to him because he's kind of the dark kind of character. He's more looked at as the bad boy, and I'm more drawn to the bad boys in novels. So I was more drawn to him. I didn't really care for Tamlin. He had a lot of red flags for me, but yeah, I guess I was the odd one out for that. But Yes, I reread this one. I'm so glad I did. It had been a while, and I just loved it so much. Next, we have the one-star read. This is the adult nonfiction book, so not only is it a 1-star, but it's also a genre that I don't really read. It is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. So, this book was recommended to me many times. Like, people have been recommending it to me for years now. And I decided to pick it up because, like I said, I was kind of going through a rough patch, and I wanted to gain some wisdom, if you will. And I was hoping that this book would allow me to do so. However, I was so frustrated with this book, so annoyed with this book. I honestly hated it. The author himself, like, the way he wrote and, like, the premise and, like, the things that he spoke of just sounded so condescending, and just, I don't know, I just don't agree with a lot of the things that he talks about in this book. So mainly what this book is about is he comes up with 4 agreements. So you need to be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. On the outside, those actually sound like great rules of thumb. Like, I agree with those 4 things, but his descriptions, he goes too far. He literally said on a page, and I don't have where I marked it off, but he literally said on a page that if somebody takes a gun and shoots you in the head, you shouldn't take that personally. I'm gonna take that personally, guys. I'm going to. I was actually getting so angry, and I do have a full review of this. It's not on my YouTube channel. I do have a blog where I kind of write a few things here and there. I don't, use the blog as much as I use YouTube itself, but I do have a full review with that example, as well as many other examples of things that I just didn't like, and how, like, just not good things about this book. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to leave a link to that review down below for you guys. I hated this book. I hated it. Goodbye. The next book I read was my 4.5-star read, and it was The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. This is an adult fiction romance novel following a woman named Stella and a man named Michael, and Stella has autism, she's on the spectrum, and she just realizes that she doesn't really know how to be physically intimate, and she wants to get better at that. She's now in her 30s, and her mother keeps kind of pressuring her to get married and have kids, and Stella just realizes she's not good in relationships because she doesn't have that kind of experience. So what she does is she hires a male escort, and that male escort happens to be Michael. He is just very attractive and very kind and sweet and just, like, so caring to Stella. I just loved it. Their relationship is just so cute. The one thing I will say, the reason why I kind of didn't give it a 5 stars was because if they had only communicated in a slightly better way, like, it's kind of understandable with Stella because of her autism. She literally says that she's not, like, really that great with communication. But if they were just a little bit better with it, all the problems that they had would have been resolved immediately. I still just really loved this novel. I highly recommend this. It was so cute. The next book I ended up picking up was When Dimbo Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. This is a young adult contemporary novel that is just so cute. Like, I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did because I don't enjoy contemporary as much as I used to. I've always been a fantasy reader, and I've read contemporary here and there, but young adult contemporary I've kind of gone away from because I kind of want more smut, if you know what I'm saying. But this was just so cute. If you don't know what this is about, it is about a young woman named Dimple who wants to go away to this kind of camp that is like a startup for apps, and it's just like about engineering and all that kind of stuff. And her parents just really want to kind of find a match for her, and she just doesn't really believe in that kind of side of her culture, and her beliefs and stuff just don't follow her parents so much. She just wants to live her life. And her parents kind of go behind her back and set up a meetup with this boy named Rishi, who also ends up at the camp because of their parents and their meddling, and they end up meeting together, and you know, things go from there. And it was just a cute little romance, a cute little contemporary, and I am very curious to read more from this author, and I think this is one of those YA contemporaries that I can get into some more of. Next, we have my other 5-star read, and it is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is the sequel to A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is also my other reread of the month. I love this book. Like, it is one of my all-time favorite books. The first time I read this book, I remember just wanting to pick it up immediately afterwards, and I never want to do that. Like, I want to reread books, but I'm never like, close the page, let's open it from book one. I just love this book so much. I love Rhysand, I love Feyre, I just love everything about this. I love the relationship between Feyre and Cassian, and Feyre and Asriel and Feyre, and just everybody else. It's just, everything about this book. I think also Sarah J. Maas does a good job of handling PTSD, because Feyre definitely has it in this book, and I think it's really shown well and done well. So I just love everything about this book. I just had to reread it. If you have not read this or picked up ACOTAR yet, or if you kind of didn't really enjoy ACOTAR, you have to give A Court of Mist and Fury a shot, because it is just amazing. And then the final book that I read in June was Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is a young adult fantasy book that follows a young woman named Scarlet, and she is on her way to this place called Caraval, which is basically like a carnival of sorts, kind of like a magical carnival. She's always dreamed of going, and then all of a sudden her sister Tella is taken, and it is part of the game, so to speak, that Scarlet needs to find her sister or risk losing her forever. So overall, the premise was very interesting for me. However, I just don't think the execution was done in the right way. I found myself just being kind of bored at parts. I just didn't really connect with the characters very well. And I find myself just thinking that I might not like books that surround carnival themes, because I also read, in May, I read The Night Circus, and I didn't really like that one either. So I guess just carnivals in general are just not my kind of thing. So overall, I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I thought the premise was good. I just didn't think the writing and the characters were well developed enough for me to be fully immersed in the novel. So I don't think I'll be continuing on with this series at all. So I'll probably be getting rid of this one, as well as The Four Agreements and the Gilded Woes. So I just didn't really care for this one. Alright everyone, there you have it. That was my June wrap up. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you read in the month of June. Maybe your favorite book that you read. Maybe a book that you were very disappointed by. I had a few of those. Also, like this video and subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you all next time. Bye!